What's up guys, it's tube, and it has now been a month since Pokemon Scarlet and Violet have come out. It's time to talk about the DLC. Everyone knows when you're playing a Pokemon game that something comes after. Gold and Silver, Crystal, Ruby and Sapphire, Emerald. For the first few generations, they made a third version or DLC. It was kind of the center of both the games' worlds. Now Scarlet and Violet is out, and the question is up in the air. Will we get a third version? But let's just talk about a potential DLC for a bit. Let's start off with the hints we know in game that could point towards a third version or DLC. Manzana Academy. When you take the test, it asks you, what's your academy? You can either pick Uva, Nahh, or Manzana. Uva is what your academy is called in Pokemon Violet, and the school does change in each game. Each wall has all this purple on it. Every student is wearing a different emblem, and meanwhile in Pokemon Scarlet, the academy is called nahh. They throw in this joke one, Manzana, which means apple in Spanish. Now, talking about the name of the school is kind of interesting because when we think about what splits Pokemon Scarlet from Violet, what makes it so Heat sees future Pokemon in Area Zero versus past Pokemon, there isn't a clear answer. It's 200 years ago. For some reason, the games are different, but the one point you can register that the two games split off is 805 years ago when the Academy is made. For some reason, in one game, they shake hands and call it Uva. In the other game, they call it nahh. There's a joke here that there could be a Manzana. Now, this name's kind of weird because we got Uva Academy in the Violet book, right? Purple and purple. But then we have nahh Academy in the Scarlet book, which is orange and red. It's not like it's called the orange book. So when we have Manzana, which is apple, which is red, we already have Pokemon Scarlet. You would think they could have picked a better fruit to make this joke, if it is a joke. If you ask around on the internet, people are theorizing maybe this Manzana joke could be something in a DLC, which I'll talk to in a bit about a certain location that it looks like could be a DLC opportunity. I suppose you can get into the different kind of apples that are out there. I mean, there's green apples. Let's see. There seems to be apples of a few different variations, so maybe they could take an approach like that. Apple don't gotta mean red. There's also another interesting thing. At the beginning of the game, when Fuecoco's burning the fruit, that's an apple. Nah, people seem to think it's an apple, right? It's not an orange, which is Pokemon Scarlet's fruit, or a grape, which is Pokemon Violet's fruit. They chose the apple. Since the fruit of the Academy doesn't have to matter too much to the game title itself, it could still be something like Pokemon Amber. So Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, and then Amber. What would this Pokemon Amber represent? I get it, Amber is freaking like yellow. I want you guys to think about if there was a potential Pokemon Amber, what would be the story of that game? How would they cross over the two games and create this one? Meanwhile, I'm gonna show you guys some people's thoughts on DLC. My 5 hopes for the DLC. With the DLC coming next year, here's what I'd like to see. A way to obtain the Kalos starters without transferring them from Pokemon Home. This is your top 5. The 2 remaining pseudo lines, Metagross and Como, brought into the game. Fossil Pokemon should return. Make a new version of Terra Raids that are similar to Dynamax Adventures. Well, finally, you've made one good. Whether it's a third version or a DLC, they will bring in more Pokemon lines. The disc to be battled and caught in a Terra Raid. Yes, this freaking has to happen. You know, Sword and Shield screwed up in a lot of places. Do you see the ending of Scarlet and Violet where the 4 rivals actually link up and do something? That was supposed to happen in Sword and Shield. Maybe Game Freak just has some ass writers, but we were supposed to have something with us, Hop, Marnie, and Bede. And they literally have dens, raids. I'm telling you, something was supposed to happen where the 4 of us fight Eternatus. They can correct it here. We know there's an unsolved mystery, which is the 3rd Crystal Hexagon Legendary. We have to fight it in a raid. Well, this is not the thoughts I thought people would be talking about. Pokemon Maroon, Pokemon Crimson. Okay, here's the Manzana. And so this leads into one thing I wanted to talk about, which comes back to Riddler Coup. How long has it been since you heard me say that name? Do I even still follow Riddler Cou's Riddle School in Titan? So let's scroll down to November 15th. Anyone who thought this was racist because you are racist, you would treat everything racially. Shame on you. Wait, I tweeted him about race. I mean, it's a joke, okay? Damn, I was mad mean to Coup. After Kaka came out, I tweeted, I don't want to play with you anymore. Oh no. Clearly, I regretted that. Kaka ruined the game. Oh my god, dude, June 27th, I tweeted him. So, Coup tweets, my Scarlet and Violet team starters, 1 Object Mon, which is maybe Golden Go, 1 Rock type Mon, Garganacl, 1 Puppy Mon, Probably Fido. Hey, this is crazy to know the Pokemon. All new, and as always, I won't use legendary, mythical, or other special mons in my Team of 4 Pros game. That regional T-Tar too overpowered, eh? I feel you. There freaking was a regional T-Tar. Now it was from the future, but I still got my boy. That's crazy. Wow, this is a trip down memory lane. Here we go. May 31st would look good if it were white. Someone tagged me in it, so I said regional Grumpig or racist Grumpig. Turns out the Grumpig was not racist. It was just a shiny lit Oinkologne. But anyhow, here we go. November 15th. Here's something Ku tweeted. If I post this now, do you get what I mean? When Ku tweeted this, the games had already been leaked. People had known all the contents inside. But he tweets a red heart, a purple heart, and then an orange heart. Scarlet, Violet, Marigold? What the frick is that? What is Marigold? Bro, we're not gonna have a game called Pokemon Marigold. That crap will never sell. If the third legendary is indeed orange, that checks out with the orange holy sphere painting in the anime. What? Scarlet and Violet represent the past and future. DLC will focus on the present. Scarlet, Violet, and question mark? I guess a shade of orange. Not sure. Wait. I said amber. Not sure which is the most fitting. Perhaps saffron, peach, amber, or it's amber. Yo, the DLC is gonna be called the Amberous Adventure. Amber. It seems like he's saying Pokemon Scarlet, Violet, and then an orange one. We already know Ku knows the future. He knew the future so much that he thought Wiglet was an actual Diglett when he first hinted about it back in like March now. If there is a DLC or third version for Scarlet and Violet, he knows. And unless we have a Pokemon Z situation here, we're getting more in this game. We're coming back to this. Okay, so have you thought about your answer to what I said? What would this Pokemon Amber featuring the Manzana Academy do to be the center version between the two games? Because you would think with Pokemon Crystal, Emerald, and Platinum, it's almost like both games cross paths together. And Pokemon Ultra Sun and Moon was pretty much the same too. They just kind of split it to sell 2 copies of the game. But Pokemon Sun and Moon is also the last games so far where the third legendary was actually properly related to the 2 original cover legendaries. Starting with Pokemon Sword and Shield, the third legendary is Eternatus, which isn't a trio with Zacian and Zamazenta. It's just something that has a history with Zacian and Zamazenta. And now we have a similar situation in Scarlet and Violet where the third legendary is this crystal hexagonal 6-lettered creature, which by comparison to like Necrozma Eternatus is on a whole other level. This thing's leftover crystals have so much potential, they made a time machine using it. And so I say this because a third version doesn't necessarily have to be the crossover of both worlds. Something where like Koraidon and Miraidon crossover into our world, where somehow both stories play out. It could just be something else. And especially if they take the DLC approach, it would just be an added story on top. You know, maybe like the Isle of Armor, there's a Manzana Academy if you go northeast of Paldea. And this leads into our final thing. This is the forefront to what people feel like the DLC to this game could bring. This is the official map for the Paldea region. As you can see, it looks nice. We got our little Dondozo ass lake here. We got the crater in the middle. But in game, you can climb anywhere in the game. You can visit the seas. You can cross every single border. But if you try to go northeast in this game, it doesn't let you. There's a literal landmass it does not let you reach. Naturally, this has led people to thinking that it isn't just a random border, but that it's cut off because there's content there. It's true that something does connect to Spain at this part in the real life map. And so while Game Freak could have just cut it off and had an open sea here, for some reason they're staying true to the way Spain looks in real life, or the Iberian Peninsula. But do you know what's connected here? I know you know. Look at this crap. Here's Portugal, here's Spain. Connected to it is France. This is the Kalos region. And so it's led people to realizing that regardless of whether we ever get access to that part of the map or not, that landmass they're blocking is Kalos. And the Game Freak doesn't have to deliver on this, considering they won't deliver if they really don't want to. Pokemon Z. But it's made some cool images that really tug at your hope strings. Really gets you addicted to copium. Look at this. Here's Paldea. There's the bottom of Kalos, that rocky area you couldn't do anything at. Kalos was one of the first dexes where they split it up. Instead of having just a normal regional dex, we had Central Kalos, coastal Kalos, and then mountain Kalos. Theories around the time were like, yo, in Pokemon Z, we're gonna have southern Kalos. We're gonna go to the power plant. We're gonna find Volcanion. Hoopa stories. Zygarde's existence finally explained. We never got the Pokemon Z, but this is still that same southern Kalos. So the question is, if there is a DLC for this game, if Manzana is gonna be a part of whatever that is, if that landmass is something they do want us to cross, can we go to Kalos in Scarlet and Violet DLC? It doesn't have to be the whole Kalos. They don't gotta pull a Kanto on us, because I know they don't got the freaking resources to remake all of Kalos. Well, they have the resources, but I'm saying it's Game Freak, they won't. But even if you could just visit like a small portion of Kalos, could they deliver that? And another thing is, next year, 2023, is the 10-year anniversary of Kalos. They already hold Pokemon Z. There ain't no Zygarde game. This could be their little acknowledgement, their little homage to the first 3D Pokemon games. There's also been some weird theories that AZ, wherever he was over here when he fired the weapon, that it went up and landed in Paldea. And that creates the Great Crater. Man, if he ain't a troll, if he really did that, he ain't never come to Paldea and apologize. Bro, sorry about that crater. Obviously, that's not true because that crater's been there a million years. That could be an emphasized fact because Paldean history only seems to go back 2,000 years. So maybe the first emperor just lied and said it's a million-year-old crater. But we got freaking science in this game. I'm sure they like dated the site and they could tell it was a million years old. And then it also leads into some other thoughts, which being that Mega Evolution is right on the other side of that landmass. Could not Megas come back, but could something happen with Megas? Then we have Roaring Moon, who's a literal Mega Salamence that roamed the past naturally, and they allude to Mega Evolution in Paldea through that. Could there be just something we get from Kalos? It's kind of weird, but the third legendary in Scarlet and Violet is described as this hexagon creature, which I can say with certainty doesn't have anything to do with Zygarde. It's a different hexagon. It's like hexagon crystals. But that's also something that's got people thinking. If this landmass is the pathway to Kalos, could they give us a proper explanation on Perfect Zygarde is a thought. Time has started passing in the Pokemon world, and I'm certain they're gonna maybe stick to a timeline like Kalos games happened at least 5 years ago, maybe up to like 10 years ago. So if we were to go to Kalos, things would look different. Hey, hold up. I'll leave you with this. If we go to Kalos, you don't gotta show us much, but at least let me see the boy AZ, who's now 3,010 years old. Let me see AZ again. Let me get my apology for putting that hold in my region. I want to see an AZ and he got a new beanie on. He's wearing some jeans. AZ is wandering with this Floette now. Like, this man's got his happier ending. Bro, AZ probably had a drink with the Paldean king 2,000 years ago. AZ knows. AZ met Jesus. Let me meet AZ and just ask him a couple questions. Yo, F this. We have to go to Kalos and we have to meet AZ. I'm pissed now. Alright, shank that like button, guys. Let me know your thoughts on Scarlet and Violet's DLC. I have a couple more thoughts, but I'll wait till we have some substance to make a video on it. Let me know what you would want from a DLC, and I'm interested what y'all will say. Shank that like button. I'll see you on the next video. Take care.